early day today for me. Typically, I lift more like at 5 or 6, but it's 1. It's freaking 1 o'clock. What's on the agenda? You already know. Chest. Got a freaking chest day. I kind of fucking tweaked my shoulder 2 chest days ago. I think it was because I was doing this hammer strength press, which I usually don't start on. And I mean, it felt good at the time, but since I started with that movement, I went extra heavy, and I just got a little something going on my shoulder up here. Not like rotator cuff style, just sort of. I tried to explain it to somebody, or no, when I explained it, I got a couple comments saying it's like a trap thing. No, it's not back here. It's like right fucking up in here, sort of where my front delt and my side delt meet my collarbone. I don't know. Nothing serious, but obviously minor injury. I don't want to do anything to, improve or degrade its state, right? I don't want to keep hurting myself more. And like the action of doing it pressing is kind of activating that little area. So I'll be a little careful today. It was kind of bothering me last chest day, but I just kind of went through it. But maybe I would have been better off just doing a more cable-based lift then, so I could do a real heavy one now. But who's to say? So going to the Y. So I have at my disposal the Incline bench, Incline Smith machine. There's a chest press, which is okay. It's kind of it's good later in the lift. The stack isn't that heavy, but it's a decent feeling. And then I've got a pec deck and cables for cable flies and or some bent over cable presses. Now that's more than enough for me to get a freaky chest pump. So I've kind of got the Incline Smith machine on my mind. That's sort of what I'm imagining starting with. Now typically I don't really have a workout like written out in my head or written out on paper before I go to the gym. I kind of just go by feel pretty much. Like I have a basic outline of the lift, right? I want to start with heavy shit, and then as I get weaker, towards the end I'll do more isolation squeezing movements like cable flies, pec deck, shit like that. And for the most part that's gotten me a pretty fucking freaky pump every time. So I think I'll just stick with that format, and that's pretty much what I recommend to anybody, right? It doesn't really make sense to me to want to go into the gym and start with a really lightweight. Like you can do a set of pec decks with as heavy as you can go for 10 reps, and literally let's say 10 reps is when you can't touch your hands together anymore, and then you get maybe 5 partials in, and that's a hard set for you. That was a good effective set, right? Or you could also do it with maybe half that weight, right? Do the reps really slow and just get a burning feeling. You know what I'm talking about? Where the difficulty isn't from the just the tension. It's more so just from the what would I even call it? Just the manual flexing of the pecs. More so than just when you're throwing the weight around, right? So you can do a set in both of those ways, where each of them are going to feel just as hard at the end. But for the most part, I think it's better to do the heavy ones first and then finish with sets like that. But that's sort of just my opinion. I'm not a scientist. Nobody knows the exact perfect way to build muscle, right? But that seems like a decent start. So I already drank the pre. This is about a 15-minute drive, 10-minute drive. So by the time I do my little cable warm-ups of my triceps and my shoulders, it should be kicked in completely, and then we can jumpstart the fucking pump. So let's get in there. There wasn't much to see in terms of the warm-up sets. You know, I did a plate for a few, two for a few, three for a few. I did 3.5. So when I say a half, that's like a 25. And that for two felt pretty light. So I think I could probably hit this for at least 8. I mean, I know it's on the Smith machine, so is it really 4 plates? Whatever. All right, let's get hyped up. Let's do a quick drop set. 6 is a little bit low. For the most part, I prefer to do at least 8 reps. Okay. Yeah. Whenever I overestimate my strength, and I only get 6, 5 reps, whatever, typically I want to do a drop set because I'm not a fucking power lifter. You know, I'd say rep ranges from like 8 to 25. That's the sweet spot. I don't want to go much higher than that or much lower than that. So let's do 3 plates and a 25. Oh. Okay. I think I'll do some drop sets for the next 2. So, I'll do however many I can with 3 reps and then drop it to 2 plates. I mean, yeah, 3 plates. Whoops. Even though I've only done 1 movement, I'm already feeling fucking pumped. I've said this before, if, for chest, let's just, focus on chest. In terms of heavy pressing, you got a variety of choices. Obviously, I'm going to be biased towards incline, but, incline barbell, incline Smith, incline dumbbell, maybe incline, like, machine loaded press. Pretty much those are the big 4. But sometimes, I mean, fucking one of them just feels perfect, right? Like, I've had lifts where I did like 7 sets of barbell bench, and then this one's going to end up being probably the same thing with Smith. Sometimes just, there's no reason to complicate it. If one movement feels good, you're going hard, the sets are good, you're getting pumped, I say just stay there. Why risk doing a movement that's going to feel a little bit worse that day? All right, that last fucking rep was hard. I saw one comment on the last arm day. Somebody was like, only one movement for arms? I can't remember if it was 1 exclamation point or 5. But if you're fucking hitting your whole tricep with a normal push down, why would I want to do a bunch of different movements if I can just do one that I actually like, right? Like, sure, I could jump from like the rope or dips or like something silly like that. But if the regular W bar push down is giving me a huge tricep pump, I'd feel like a fool to move on to something else, right? So let's just throw these around. Okay, that's enough. I'm not gonna do a drop set on this one. I will on the next one, and then we can do a cable fly or something. I'll go a little bit wider grip. Good one. Fuck. On the 3-plate part of that set, I was like an inch away from that rung. That felt like a fucking 10-second rep. But that's enough pressing. Let's move on to some kind of cable fly. I'm gonna do a set of cable presses where pretty much the premise is I've got the cables up, I don't know, this height and width. If you have this machine at your gym, just kind of emulate what this looks like. And then, you know, it's a little more than half the stack. It's 60 pounds. By now, I mean, I'm really just going for a fucking burn. So walk, bend forward a little, and then just really try to squeeze the fuck out of the chest. I may just do one of these, depending on how it feels, and then move on to like pec deck or something. But maybe I'll do 2, maybe I'll do 3. Not exactly sure yet, but we will find out rather shortly. All right, let's just do 1 and done on that. It feels good, but I think a pec fly will feel better. Okay, so I'm not exactly sure how strong I am on this movement right now, so I will do a little bit of a feeler set. But this kind of brings me to a little pet peeve I have. This fucking machine was started at this setting, which was way too fucking deep. Like, I don't know. Maybe this isn't that bad and I'm just inflexible, but why the fuck would I want to start off way back here if my reps don't go that deep, right? You know, I'm not trying to fucking tweak my shoulder or fucking pull something, trying to load the weight from a unnatural position. Come on, get in there. So I want it to be as close to, you know, where I actually feel comfortable starting a rep as possible, which ends up being at like the widest setting. Oh, you're fine. No, you're totally good out. It doesn't matter. But yeah, so let me see how this weight feels. And it might just, maybe this weight's perfect and I'll just do a set right now. Let's find out. Okay, that's too light and that's a little bit too close. Let's go slightly deeper and a little heavier. Okay, let's do one more of those. So, some movements you can legitimately reach failure on, right? Bench, squat, um, dumbbell curls, right? You know, you can literally get to a point where it's physically impossible to do another rep. And you can't really do partials without, you know, assistance. But with stuff like pec flies or lateral raises or even some rowing movements or pull downs, you can still get some fucking partials after your range of motion has been, let's just say, limited by fatigue, right? I wouldn't want to just end that set when I can't touch my hands, right? Because if I were to do that, I would have had those last 10 reps just sitting in the tank unused, you know? And I feel like that's giving me a bit more intensity to the set, plus a better pump. So I'm thinking, uh, what am I thinking? I know what I'm thinking. Last set. Then we can go check this fucking shit out. All right, so finisher. It's gonna be a superset. So I'm gonna start off with just cable flies. So I'll stand right here, normal fly-based action. And then once I feel like I've done enough, I'm gonna take a, well, not gonna take a step forward. I'm just gonna bend over, drop the weight, and then finish with some bent over flies. It just feels a little different. So I guess more of a drop set than a superset, but whatever. All right, let's go check that shit out. Okay. So just a fuck ton of Smith machine bench and then a little bit of flies. And this is a good pump. This is a good freaking pump. I already know it. I would hope you already know it. And if you were to emulate this lift, then you would definitely fucking know it. Assuming that you went hard, you know. Like, you could do these same exercises, obviously with different weights, but if you don't actually push yourself on the sets, then you're not going to get the same pump. You're not going to get close to the same pump. I mean, relative to the person, you know. Like, if I were to do those same sets, but, you know, cut my intensity short by just re-racking a few reps early, or maybe going lighter than the weights that I actually used, sure, I'd be a little pumped just from the fact that I did a few chest exercises, but it would not be the same. Like, as long as you have a decent workout plan and you know, like, well, I guess for me, I say a decent workout plan is starting off with the heavy shit and finishing with the squeezing shit. But, you know, whatever you like doing, maybe you'd like doing pressing and then a few sets of flies and then pressing again, a few sets of flies, whatever. Assuming that your workout is reasonably well thought out, then the only factor that's going to determine whether or not you get a fucking good pump and you had a productive lift is how hard you go. You know, if I just go in there and like, I don't think I've ever gone in and done like a really half-assed lift, but if I did that, I'd be making less gains. I'd probably just feel like shit because I'd be thinking later in the day, Oh man, I could have gone harder. Yeah, I could have gone. Come on, you may as well try to get it all out on the table, so that when you get in the car and you drink your dextrose shake like you should, you can sort of reflect and say that was a good lift. That was a good freaking lift. So let's check the pump. So the reason that I don't really lift in like stringers or anything, also holy fuck. But yeah, so the reason I kind of stay covered up, that's really just something I do more when I'm bulking. I don't like the distraction of, trying to see what I look like during the lift. Because, I mean, some days your pump just isn't there. Like, you won't be as pumped as you were the day before or, whatever else. And that can kind of fuck with your head, you know? Like, oh my God. If I were to be lifting and for whatever reason, I didn't have an awesome night's sleep or I didn't drink enough water, whatever, and my pump is like not shitty, but let's just say it's worse than normal, and I'm looking at that during my lift, I don't need those. I don't need any thoughts bubbling up inside me like, oh Jesus, oh this is, you know what I'm saying? Like at least when I'm trying to, bulk and I'm really just focusing on getting a good lift, I just don't really like looking at myself like that. But when I'm dieting and the whole point of lifting is maintaining your muscle, right? Then I'll be more prone to wear some stringers or whatever, just because I've pretty much done all the hard work per se, right? You grow when you're bulking. That's when everything's got to be on point. And when you're dieting, the main fucking goal is just trying to not, you know, gorge on food like a fucking pig and get leaner. And the lifting is more so just to maintain the muscle you built as well as your strength. If you were to not lift at all, you'd probably start losing muscle and you would definitely lose strength. But whatever, let's just get a couple more poses in. Oh my God. Yeah, it's pretty fucking pumped. So, not much else to say. Let's just get in the fucking car and get out of here. Get the dextrose shake slammed. So, very successful chest day. Totally pumped, very fatigued. Okay. Oh, good. Yeah. Jesus. I was just waving at somebody. I didn't want him to come over and talk. That's funny for me. I might not be so funny for you guys. But whatever. Yeah, chest was thrashed. Heavy, hard, pumped. Sounds like a porn ad. But whatever. Yeah, so I guess I fucking called it on the way there. I knew I was gonna like that Incline Smith machine. And lo and behold, I did. Now, I mean, that kind of begs the question, did I only like it because I thought I was gonna like it? Or, did I just sort of call it? Who cares? We got pumped regardless. But like I was saying, I mean, there's no special movement for any particular body part, right? Like, there's no specific weight or kind of barbell curl or, what am I saying, bicep curl that's gonna give you just massive biceps more so than any other. You know, it it's just about how hard you can load a movement that just feels good for you, right? Like, for me, I think my fucking elbows are kind of like not angled right. Like my forearm is sort of cambered in a certain way, whatever. But for me, a lot of the time, doing a double arm movement with a single bar, or like barbell curls, or preacher curls with an easy bar curl, or with an easy, yeah, with an easy bar, or like some preacher curl machines for me, it's got a weird angle on my wrist. I end up working a lot more forearm than I do biceps sometimes, and it just doesn't feel right, you know. Now, for the most part, everybody's gonna have the same basic anatomy, but maybe it's just your preference. You just love the feeling of dumbbell bench. You love it. You get a crazy squeeze. You can load a lot of weight, pump out a ton of reps, and then for you, I mean, barbell bench just doesn't do it for you. It's just not your. You always get hurt. It fucks with your shoulders. Guess what? If someone, quote unquote, gave you a workout or gave you like some kind of program, whatever, and it said do 5 sets of bench and do 3 sets of dumbbell bench and then finish with some flies, and that's just the workout that this guy recommends to everybody, right? That's not taking into account the fact that for you, dumbbell bench is your shit, and barbell bench feels like shit, right? You got to be able to have the presence of mind to know, like, okay, I don't really want to do this movement. This feels off. It just doesn't feel right. I'm gonna move on to something else. And for the most part, I mean, that'll probably help you avoid injury. You know, more often than not, the times when you're in the gym where you're gonna get hurt, or where you have a higher probability of getting hurt, are where you're sitting for a set and you're not getting that sort of anxious, excited feeling for it. Like, let's say you're going really heavy, or you're going for like a PR set. I don't really recommend doing like 1 rep maxes or anything like that. But let's say you load up 255 on bench. You're going for 8 reps. That's your PR. The most you've ever done was 6. And on this particular day, you're not getting that anxious, sort of excited feeling. You're getting like, oh, I don't know about this. My warm-ups felt a little off. I don't know if this really feels that good right now. And if you do it anyway, you fucking might get hurt. Well, obviously, you might get hurt doing any set. That's just the fucking risk of life. But for the most part, if I get some bad juju about something, or maybe if my hips feeling a little tight on a set of squats, or if my shoulders feeling fucked up or whatever, I'll I've been better at it now. But or no, I'm getting better at it. Right? I'm always trying to improve. But now I feel pretty good where I can say to myself, okay, let's just back up. Let's just either lighten the weight or just move on to something else. There's no need to get fucking hurt unnecessarily, right? No need to get hurt unnecessarily. So let's hope this light doesn't turn before I finish my dextro shake. Oh, ooh, ooh, very sweet. So last chest day, I did a little bit of a variation of the lift. I think I'm pretty sure I did some pressing and then some flies and then some pressing again and then finish with flies. Uh, as long as you do, I'd say maybe 4 or 5-ish heavy sets of some kind of pressing movement in the beginning of your chest workout, the rest is pretty much up to you. I wouldn't mind doing, let's say, 4 or 5 sets of that Incline Smith machine heavy, and then for the next like 6 or 7 reps, depending on however many I did, or sets, I could just sit on the pec deck or do cable flies or whatever else, and it would still feel fucking pretty good, right? Or I could keep doing a few more presses and then finish off with a few fly based movements rather than a lot, right? Once you get that initial heavy, high tension work done in the beginning, all you're really aiming for is getting a really good pump. And the way you're going to do that is by, pushing yourself hard, feeling the burn, getting some partial reps out, and, just pumping iron. So tomorrow's going to be, oh, tomorrow's going to be back day. I don't know where I will go. Maybe, yeah, I don't know. Maybe here, maybe at another gym, whatever. And if that pump is anything like this one, then I got something to look forward to. So until then, I'm going to eat a lot of food, take my vitamins, go to sleep, try to go to sleep early and get some cardio done in the morning, like you should all be doing. It's not that freaking hard once you make it a routine. So, I will see you next time.